Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us and taking the time to learn more about the 2023 Open Call for Innovation at the CICE, kicking off on January 16th. My name is Emira Higuer, and I'm a venture partner here at CICE. I will be joined during this session by our Executive Director, Jed McLean, and our Head of Marketing, Stacy Gorkoff. First, I would like to express how thrilled we are by receiving all the questions. During this session, we are going to start by addressing some of the most frequently asked questions we receive. Then we are going to take some time to reply to any additional questions. If you have any, please submit them. At any time, you can simply click on the Q&A function on your Zoom menu. We will answer as many questions as we can during this session. If we didn't get the chance to get to your question, we will follow up with you directly. So yes, we will be recording this session. It will be made available alongside the slides on our website. So now I will pass it to our Executive Director, Jed McLean.
Thank you, Emira, and welcome everybody to the Center for Innovation and Clean Energy. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the Indigenous peoples of all the lands that we're on today in Canada. And while we meet on a virtual platform, I'd like to just take a moment to acknowledge with respect, the importance of the lands we each call home. CICE, operating out of Vancouver, operates on the traditional, ancestral, unceded territories of the Tsleil-Waututh, the Squamish, and the Musqueam nations, and we appreciate their forbearance. I'll just take a quick second, and I won't go into very long, but if we could just take a second to introduce CICE. The Center for Innovation and Clean Energy was created in 2021, at the fall of 2021, as a partnership between the provincial government, the federal government, and Shell Canada, who have each contributed $35 million toward the advancement of clean energy innovation. We exist to really accelerate the world toward a net zero carbon future. That's what we're here for. And we believe by mobilizing industry and government, academia and communities and not-for-profits, we can expand and accelerate clean energy adoption. CICE's particular mandate within this is to fund through non-dilutive grants the commercialization of early stage technologies that are made in British Columbia that will advance decarbonization, as well as building jobs and a strong economy as we move to a zero carbon future. We can go to the next slide. It's important as you prepare your applications for you to understand how CICE is measured so that you can align priorities a little bit with ours. If they're aligned, we all win. Number one is our climate change impact, and we struggle to develop methodologies to assess today the impact that your technologies will have tomorrow. It's an ongoing question for us, but it is our most important metric for us to look at. The second is that we're all about innovation. We're not about implementation. And so we expect to see projects that will demonstrably move the technology readiness of new technologies 2 stages, if possible, if we use the NASA TRL index. The third is that we're about economic growth, and we want to build through commercialization. We want to build durable commercial entities within British Columbia that have a global reach. We expect that our companies will have a 10-to-1 leverage of any funds that we give them within 3 years. And we want to do all this by operating efficiently and as leanly as the startup companies we hope to fund operate. And so our commitment is to keep our overheads to less than 2.5% of our total funds each year. So with that, I'll just make a comment that this is our second open call. We're doing a lot, but we won't go into an overview of what CICE is up to. But the open call is really important to us because this gives an opportunity for people that we don't know, people that we don't meet, people who have new ideas, people who have crazy ideas, to pitch them to us in a way that we might be able to get behind them and help innovations that maybe we don't even know about. So this is your opportunity to come forward with new ideas, and I just can't wait. I'm so excited to see what's going to come out of this process. So Emira, back over to you, and if you can go through the details, that'd be great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Jed. So with this, let's dive in with the first question. What makes a good project? So we are looking for a project that leads to the commercialization of a technology or business model innovation with significant decarbonization potential for the province and globally when applied to scale. We want as well this project to be either led by a BC-based company or completed here in the province. We are looking for innovation with TRL between 4 and 9, so ranging from early stage of prototype development to early commercialization, but we would like to see the TRL stage of this innovation advance during this project. Having strong ESG and economic impact will make a difference and make it a good project. And of course, the innovation should be within our focus areas, which are the low carbon hydrogen, renewable natural gas, bioenergy, biofuels and synthetic fuels, battery and energy storage, and carbon management. So now we are going to take some time to actually ask you a question through our poll. If you can let us know what is your primary focus area. So Stacy is going to help us set up the call, and I think you should be able to see the question now to answer it. So give you some time to reply. Yeah, I think we're getting all our replies. So we're going to be closing the poll in 5 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I think the poll is closed. Yes. Yeah, and now we're going to be sharing our results. So I think all of you can see them on the screens. So yeah, this is exciting. We see a distribution between our all focus areas. So it's always exciting to see this diversity within the ecosystems of our innovators. And we see some leading areas. So yeah, this is a good sneak peek. So we're excited and looking forward to receiving all your applications. Yeah, thank you, Stacy. We also received some questions about the specifics of the focus areas and to elaborate a little bit more on the types of projects within each. So without that, sharing some examples of the companies we funded last year might provide you some insight. So as you can see, last year we funded Hydron, that's demonstrating small-scale renewable natural gas production with a mobile biogas upgrading units. We also funded Moment, that is developing their own battery management system for second life energy storage. Parkland is investigating low-carbon feedstock for refinery co-processing. Corvus is redefining battery components for high-speed marine applications. Econa is producing clean hydrogen through their novel pulsed methane pyrolysis. HTEC is building and supplying hydrogen technologies and solutions to decarbonize certain operation within Port of Vancouver. Hexagon Pyrus is looking to deliver a first of its kind fuel cell electric truck. And Hydra is scaling up hydrogen conversion of heavy-duty vehicle across BC. So last year, we didn't have any project within carbon management, but we're looking at carbon capture, storage, mineralization, utilization, product development in different industries, and nature-based solutions. We also received some questions about our process. So I want to go over some of our dates and key stages. So first dates to keep in mind is January 16th, next Monday, when you can go to our website and submit your expression of interest and upload your video. You have until February 10th to do so. This first stage is fast and efficient. We'll gather key information for competitive evaluation. And on February 24th, we will be announcing our decision. So all applicants will be notified and the successful one will be moved to stage 2. Those successful one will be provided further details on the proposal requirement, the process, including confidentiality agreements. We will go through a thorough evaluation during stage 2, and we will notify the awarded applicant and finalize the finding agreements by June 1st. I wanted as well to put an emphasis on how rigorous and impartial our process is, with external expert reviews, detailed due diligence, investment committee, and a competitive review of the proposed project against the CICE evaluation criteria, as well as a comparison of all projects submitted. Now, the next set of questions will provide some clarifications on the funding amount, period, use, and structure. So to clarify, we do not have a limitation on the amount of funding requested. We have up to 6 million for this call, and we intend to fund several projects of different sizes and maintain a balanced portfolio across all focus areas in the province. For your reference, last year, we funded 8 projects with a total of 3.4 million. The funding are allocated starting June 1st, providing that the funding agreement is put in place. Each project will have a specific funding agreement schedule aligned with its progress. So once a milestone is completed, the funds allocated to it will be released. And given the emergency of the climate crisis, we are really keen to get the funds to the project within the year. These funds can be used to cover direct costs related to the project. You have some examples here. You can also refer to our guideline that is available on our website. And this will also be covered in details during stage 3 within the funding agreement with the awarded projects. When it comes to what is outside the funding scope, as a general rule, it's all costs not related to the project. Here you have as well some examples, and you can always refer to our guideline on our website that is available to download. We also had some questions about financing structure of the project. So we do not have stacking limitation, and the awarded funds can be leveraged for additional funding. However, it will be good for all applicants to check stacking rules from other programs, as they may impose limitations. I wanted also to add that projects with strong private funding and commercial support will be looked upon more favorably. For question 9, yes, one organization can apply for a different project and have multiple funded projects under the CICE innovation program. All projects will undergo the same process and will be evaluated against the same criteria. Here as well, we intend to have a balanced portfolio of companies and projects. And when it comes to the structure of collaborative project, we accept and encourage projects led by consortium of companies working together with a single lead organization as applicants. So that was our last most frequent asked questions. So now we're going to address the question we received through the Q&A function. So we're just gonna wait for my colleague Stacy to start going through this question that you submitted.
Hi, good morning, everyone. And Jed, thank you for coming back. There's been a number of questions that have been submitted, so I will start with a couple from the chat function, and then we'll move over to the Q&A function as well. The first one, can we have more than 2 focus areas associated with one project? Who would like to answer that?
Yeah, I can answer this.
Okay.
So actually, yes, you can have more than 2, and actually that will strengthen your application. So yes, please, if you have more than one focus area, you can just precise it on your applications, and after we will take it in consideration within our evaluation. Jed, do you want to add anything else?
No, that's fine. That's good.
Okay. Could we have a project portfolio including multiple projects with the same focus area? And I think that relates a little bit to one of your questions that you already answered. But
yes, so you can have a project portfolio, but after each project scope will be submitted through one application. So it's to the company and the applicant to decide and choose how many applications they want to submit and the project that they want to bring forward. So they can be within one focus area or multiple, as long as they are defined and different projects with different scopes.
Okay,
If
And
I
how many-
can just add to that, the objective that we have for a balanced portfolio, we're trying to balance our portfolio across geographies within the province, across these focus areas that we have. So my caution on any company that's thinking they might apply 2, 3, 4, 5 times is that they would have to be amazing projects in order for us to weight our portfolio so heavily on one company in one location. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about your aspirations and how you might approach us. We do have an obligation to balance portfolio.
great. How many applications were received last year and how many were funded?
68 applications were received last year. We narrowed that down to 20 who made it to the stage 2, and then we funded 8. We initially announced $2.8 million, and we increased that amount of offer so that we funded 3.4 by the time we were done.
Okay, if our project has partners, can we each individually apply or is it a joint application?
Amira.
Yes, we actually addressed it in the questions, and it is going to be a joint application with one company as a lead.
Okay, can a project from a consortium be led by university researchers?
No.
Okay. Can a project use fully commercial technology in a unique or novel application?
Possibly, yes.
Okay. There's a simple one here that I can answer. Would we be able to share this presentation? The answer is yes. Would you consider early growth stage innovative business models for nature-based solutions that can scale beyond $1 billion?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're on the sync.
Okay.
And I'll just clarify, maybe if I can just clarify, we talk about technology in the broadest sense. So if the technology is a business model or a process or a new way of doing, then that's fair game. It doesn't have to be widgets that are built in a shop. So business model innovation is absolutely something that we would consider as something that we're very interested. Keep in mind we're after durable commercial entities. So, for example, a business model that might be compliance as a service, say compliance with the low carbon fuel standard, for example, that would be a great durable commercial entity that requires a lot of innovation, requires a lot of knowledge, and it certainly would accelerate the path to decarbonization by simplifying the compliance. So there's a good example of a business model innovation. Nobody's come forward with that, by the way, but just to sort of give you an exemplar of what we would consider to be actually a pretty interesting thing to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I would like as well to add that wherever it is, if it's a technology or business innovate or business model, we're looking into that innovative step. So as long as there is something that's done differently, that's innovated and created, it's something that we will be really interested to look at. So yes, we welcome all these applications.
Okay, here's an important one that I think a lot of folks will want to know about, and it has to do with the actual submission itself. Does the video submission have to be a certain format or size?
So we do have some limitation within the platform that's supporting our application. So all that we may finalize and make available on Monday 16th.
Okay, and then the next two questions here I'm putting together because I think that they can be answered as one. To apply, must you be at TRL 4, or would we still be eligible if between TRL 3 and 4? And then the other question, which is actually a couple of questions we're putting together here. Is there any preference for higher initial TRL?
You want me to answer that, Amira, or can you get that?
I can answer this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are focusing on TRL between 4 and 9. But after, if you are at the limit between 3 and 4, you can always submit an application and we will look at it and we will evaluate it against our criterias and the remaining of the project submitted. And after, we do not have a preference. When it comes to innovation, like a lot of work when you're like developing your prototypes is done in early stages, but as well, we are focusing on the commercialization of these projects. So we're looking from TRL 4 and to 9. So that's my reply. Jed, is there anything else you would like to add?
Yes, the question is an opportunity for us to talk very briefly about CICE, which may be helpful. So Amir, absolutely right. The process is designed for this two-stage process, with the first stage being a video submission and a very short description of the process parameters. The intent there is so that the effort required at this first stage is the minimum effort that we can live with to get to that first gating decision as to whether this project is a good fit and it's worth the effort of a full-blown application, which is going to be quite a bit of work. So it's up to the applicant, but I would suggest, try us out. I mean, send your great idea in. For the price of a video, you should apply. And then we can have a conversation, because this is not the only activity that CICE is engaged in. We're engaged in supporting this innovative mission full-time, much bigger than just the open call. So we want to know that you're out there. We want to have a conversation. We want to find ways to help you. Maybe we can't give you money, but maybe we know somebody who can. Who knows? So please send the applications in and let's talk.
Great. Again, these two questions are related. We've had a couple that have come in about where the company is actually based. For example, are Ontario-based companies doing a project in BC eligible? So if the project is occurring in BC, but the company is not in BC, are those eligible?
Yeah, they are. So we are focusing on the BC province. So as long as the project can demonstrate value and impact in the province, and after its ability to be scaled globally, it's a project we would consider. So as long as there is this BC presence and impact on the province, we're welcoming all projects to apply.
Okay. Regarding carbon management, what are the target technologies you are looking to partner with, i.e. software, carbon sequestration, etc.? Sequestration.
Yeah. We do not have a target. I think that's the beauty of having this open call and just being open to all type of technologies and innovations and business model. So this is why, surprise us, submit your application, and we're really keen to look at all these different technologies and your project. And as Jed said, way to support you to grow and move forward.
Great. And again, this is going to be a general one about the actual application itself, but the first stage of the application requires an expression of interest and a video. That has to address the evaluation criteria according to the website. Yes, you are correct. Is there a template for the expression of interest document? Is there a structure, a page limitation? Maybe, Amira, you can give us some insight as to how this process is.
Yeah, so actually the expression of interest is a really simple form that you will have available online. And it's a series of questions and key information that we're looking for, and short description of your project, the impact on environment, and after the video of 5 minutes. So there is no really templates behind it, as we're just gathering all the information and these key points that we would like for this first day. So as we were saying earlier, our purpose is to be fast and efficient and gather as much information as we can during this first stage by maintaining it, simple and within public domain. And that will allow us to do our evaluation to this next stage. So I hope this answers your question. And after the template will be, not the templates, but the form itself will be available on January 16th. And you have until the end of the month to gather all the information needed so it can be submitted within that period.
Great. Are you looking to have all funding spent and allocated by December 2023, or is there a different year end?
We discussed this with our finance as well. So as I was saying earlier, we are keen to get funds out. Given the severity of the climate crisis, I think it's something we have to, take urgently. But after, as we said, like based on the structure of our funding, it's aligned to the project itself. So this is why like we do not have a strong deadlines. It will be aligned with the project milestone and progress. So I think this answered the question. So we are keen to get funds this year, but there is no deadline with it.
Right.
Jed, is there anything
So if I
you'd
can,
like-
yeah, just to clarify, we will support multi-projects, but we really have a preference for projects that would begin as soon as possible. We want to get going, but the project will dictate when the project ends, not the fiscal year. If you apply and you think, well, maybe middle of 2024 we'll start this project once CICE approves us, maybe you should apply next year. We're ready to disperse funds as of June, and we hope to have this process completely wrapped up by then so that companies can get going. That's the urgency with which we treat the problem.
Great. Can you provide funding for a feasibility study?
Generally, no. We've had a lot of applications for front-end engineering studies and feasibility studies in the past. They generally require amounts of money which are very large, and there's very little leverage that we can identify in terms of CICE contribution to that being really critical to the project. And so they've always scored quite low relative to the more innovative development projects. So you're welcome to submit them. We'll look at any application and we'll look at it seriously and consider it. So that's our key message to you. But feasibility studies generally don't do well against the criteria. I would hate to be the person who said no to a feasibility study for the most incredible thing that's going to solve the climate change problem. So this is why you get an answer from us, which is a little bit equivocal. So please understand what I've said about the unlikeliness of it, but at the same time, we'll take a look at the proposal for sure.
Great. Is funding dispersed based on invoicing or paid in a lump sum?
So when it comes to the disbursement, we will have a set schedule aligned with the project itself. So you will have different milestones that will be agreed with us. And each time a milestone is completed, a report will be submitted with all the costs associated with it, and we will disperse the fund against that. So I think this answered the question.
Okay. Would business model innovation in the mining industry, for example, critical minerals for decarbonization, be considered eligible against the program requirements?
Yes, it's a project we will be looking at. Yeah.
Okay. Are software innovations related to these sectors viewed favorably, or is the primary focus on hardware-centric projects?
No, we do not have a focus on hardware projects. So we have like battery systems, for example, and that's supported by a big part of it is software. So no, so it's not like centric. We are looking at all different technologies within our focus areas. So yeah, like just please submit your application.
Okay. And we have a question about where the funding is originating, i.e. BC government, private equity, etc. Jed, do you want to answer that?
Sure. We are created and funded by the province of British Columbia and Shell Canada, who each put in $35 million to CICE for a 5-year mandate. We operate as a not-for-profit corporation at arm's length from either of those two entities. So they both have a representative on our board of directors, but that's the only way in which they directly influence what we're doing. We work quite closely with several ministries in the province and can make introductions there for you. The third partner is the federal government, who through the Office of Energy Research and Development in Natural Resources Canada have also committed to $35 million on a matching basis. And that's all internal to CICE. So far as the users of CICE, if you like, is concerned, yeah, we have $105 million less because we're dispersing it now, but that's the size of our fund, and it comes from, for practical purposes, the federal government, the provincial government, and Shell Canada in equal parts.
Great. Now, at this point, I'd like to just say we're reaching 11 a.m. and I know we said that we would keep this to 30 minutes. There are a number of questions that are still in. Let's take time to answer 2 or 3 more, but as Amira had stated up front, we will be getting back to every single one of you with your questions to ensure that you have the answers you're looking for. And even if these came in anonymously, which a few of them did, if you want to follow up with us directly and get answers to your questions, I think on the next slide we have the open call email. Feel free to email us. We will try our best to get back to you within the next 48 hours. So with that, let's answer 2 to 3 more here. Will projects with an academic partner be looked at more favorably?
No, and just see the pause there from Amira, I can answer that quite clearly. No, they won't be looked at more favorably, but not less either. The key thing to keep in mind is that we will not fund research. We are all about the commercialization. So the difficulty with the academic partner is often that the program is too early stage for us. And there's lots of other people who are providing funding for that level. So you can go ahead and try, and we will look at it. We'll give it our best shot to see if we can make it fit into our program. But at the same time, you need to know that if it's early stage, if it's still in the lab and hasn't moved out of the lab yet, it's going to be a harder go for that project to really make the cut.
Okay. Now, there are a couple of questions in here about TRL, and I think it's in our best interest to make sure that we'll specify that on the application page as well. But here's another one. What TRL guideline do you use for TRL quantification? The Canadian TRL definition, will you provide a link?
We will provide a link, and it's a very good question, and thank you for asking it.
Yeah. And here's another one. Do eligible expenses have to be incurred post-award? Or can some expenses prior be eligible? If yes, any constraints?
Post-award.
They have to be post-award. Okay. And this is going to be our last one for today. Does the project have to be operational at the end, or would you consider novel tech application to progress through FEED?
Yeah, I'm not sure, like, is the project itself like a pre-feed, like a feasibility study stage, I guess?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I think for this question, I will just follow up with some clarifications and we can just address it directly.
Yes, and that one came in anonymously. If we have
Ah,
not been
okay.
able to answer your question, please provide some clarity. That'd be wonderful. And I think with that, I think we're going to have to wrap it up today, just in respect for everyone's time. A big thank you to everyone for participating. We had a number of people attend. We had almost 200 people attend, which is fantastic. Thank you for taking such an interest. And with that, Amira, maybe you want to wrap us up.
Yeah, so thank you again for participating for this Q&A, like submitting your question, joining, like as Stacy said, like we're so glad to have you in this session. So as we mentioned, if we didn't get the chance to get to your question today, we will follow up with you directly. You have all the ways to reach out to us through our email or through LinkedIn and Twitter. And before closing this call, I once again, I want to thank you. And we are really impatient to kick off our 2023 open call on Monday, January 16th. So you can go to our website and you can apply. If you have any questions on the criteria, on the process, you can submit them to our email, opencall2023. So we're looking forward to receiving all your application and excited to learn more about your project, the innovation, and for us to have this opportunity to support you in this journey. So once again, thank you. Thank you for my team like participating and supporting in this webinar. And we're waiting for you on January 16th.
Great. Thanks, Mira. Thanks, Jed.
Thank you.